Hello, everyone, and welcome to another new episode of Knights of Eveningstar, a D&D show here on the D&D channel, all set in the fantastical realm of Cormyr in the Forgotten Realms. I'm your Dungeon Master, Mark SherlockHulmes, and joining me are my wonderful players and dear friends, these fine people. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm joined, of course, by Anna Prosser, Nate Sharp, Mica Burton, and Jonathan Indovino, aka ShadyPenguinn. Hello, my friends. How are you all?
Good. We're your
Hankering
friends.
for some Dungeons and
Of
Dragons.
course you are.
He
Ready
said
for
dear
some
friends.
Dungeons
I
and
know. That made my heart feel all warm and
Dragons?
fluttery.
It's like Hamilton, my dearest, comma, friends.
My dearest Mark Sherlock
Right.
Hulmes.
Very good. Yeah, it kind of works. But yeah, no. Is everyone well? Everyone good? Ready for a fresh week?
Yes.
It's December. It's the
first of Christmas.
season is upon us.
It is Christmas now. Congratulations, everyone, for making it this far in 2020. Let's get it. Round of applause.
It's technically March 273rd.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
Yeah, that's right.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I saw a post the other day
Soon.
that was like March coming in a few months when I haven't recovered from the first March. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, that's
Whoa.
real.
Well-
Oh, no. Yeah.
True.
Yeah, March is still hitting hard and March is around the corner.
2021
Well,
will
Long
be the
March.
first time in history where there are two marches happening simultaneously.
Well, let's hope that this long march is nearly an end, and we can move on to a fresh new April. I think.
Yeah, the
I
1st
had
of
to
April will
check
come in
myself.
I thought you were
2021.
gonna say hell.
When a fresh new hell will be upon us.
Oof.
Yeah, we're gonna play some Dungeons and Dragons. We have some lovely new art that some of you have already seen on the starting soon screen to represent some cool stuff going on with the characters. But we'll get into that in just a second.
Shout out to Shannon. Hey, Knuckles on Twitter.
There you go. Bam, done. But before we get into that, I will just do a little recap on what happened last time. If everybody is ready and everybody is good to play some D&D.
Sure am.
Sure.
Excellent. Last time on Knights of Eveningstar, the party's seneschal, a tiefling called Dusk, has been accused of murdering a war wizard in the service of Duchess Celeste Marlier of Cormyr. After searching the scene of the crime and speaking to Dusk themselves, the party were led to the townhouse of Lord Davian Cormoril, a noble who the party had suspicions of to begin with. Here, the party encountered several magical traps waiting in ambush for the party, clearly protecting something. Investigating Davian's study, they found missing books from the scene of the crime and several incriminating letters that made the Lord's dislike of the Duchess and the Queen clear. With evidence in hand, the party head to Celeste Marlier to see the matter settled once and for all. And that is where we are going to begin this week. I believe we ended last week with you all making your way to the Scepter, which is a large, elaborate tower in the grand city of Arabelle, the large neighbor of Eveningstars, with evidence in hand, I believe.
Also, just brief note, I did update my character sheet, but it is not in the commands because
That's
Wildfire, Circle of Wildfire Druid is now in Tasha's, so it's official rules instead of Unearthed Arcana. So I'm linking my character sheet that I'm actually working from in chat. So if you want to look at
There you
that
go.
one instead of the one that you can command up, you can, but it also doesn't matter. If you don't want to look at character sheets,
True.
don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, there
Also,
will be
for
some
those-
mild spoilers.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
gonna say, for those who have seen the character sheets, please no spoilers in chat for those who haven't looked at the character
Yes,
sheets.
very much so. Especially two characters who have done some fun stuff that we're going to go into today. And yeah, we'll get Agnes's character sheet updated for next week as well, so it will be the proper links and stuff.
Yeah,
Cool.
don't spoil the Eldritch Knight that gets nothing at level 9.
Not that Nate's bitter about
Spoilers, I didn't know.
Oh yes. Big spoiler, I do nothing different.
it. You've got an extra proficiency bonus. Come on,
You got
let's,
some
you know,
more hit points.
Oh good. Those
he'll
are all
need
for Mark.
those. Nate, I feel like there's like an animosity here. I feel like you've taken all of these beatdowns to
Mark,
heart.
may I
and-
offer you my humble hit die in these trying times?
Nice. I'll take it later. Thank you, though, Nate.
Rip.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll have that and plenty more soon. Still, the day is, I believe that this would be taking place in the sort of early evening And summer is coming to Cormier. It's been kind of springtime, but it is beginning to kind of wane and turn into the hot summer as light is still lingering in the air, a kind of golden crimson sunset cascading over the city as you make your way to the scepter. The Purple Dragon Knights on guard recognize you. They know that you have been working with the Duchess, and they know that you are members of the nobility or high-ranking advisors, and so they let you in. You are maybe wait for about an hour in a small kind of parlor study until the Duchess, an older human woman, older half-elf woman, makes her way down in a kind of well-kept traveling outfit. Not quite a regal dress, but very kind of well-maintained jacket and sort of tight hunting trousers and boots and things like that. Something that, she seems to be more comfortable in rather than elegant gowns. And yeah, she has arranges a meet with you, sits down, and so what have you discovered? I have had some reports that there was something that occurred in one of the noble estate houses recently. You were seen nearby. I trust that you've discovered something.
Agnes looks to Azara. She's the lead of this investigation.
Yes, apologies for any disturbance that we may have caused. Everything was under control. Also, as a side note, you may want to look into illegal practices that were taking place in that house, illegal magical surveillance and statues coming to life, rugs coming to life. It was, and Azar kind of like looks off into the middle distance a little bit.
The horrors kind of flashing before Azara's eyes.
Yeah. But I digress. And she pulls out the letters that they took and the book on Feywild.
Indeed, yeah, it's a book of. It is of planar access, like planar summoning and teleportation. Yes, to the Feywild.
She'll kind of spread it out on the table. I'm assuming there's a table at this meeting, and
sure. It's like in a small like side parlor. So there's like a little table and comfortable chairs. Kind of a side area for water and things like that.
She'll just go through pretty much, since it's a lot of information, everything that they found in the War Wizard's office and in this household, pretty much connecting the dots like it was this dude.
I thank you, Magister. This is comprehensive, certainly. And it aligns with what my own investigations and my own investigative agents have uncovered. I believe Minister Marcel and Baron Crownsilver were both present when one of my priests was examining your seneschal under a Zone of Truth spell. We know that these spells can be circumnavigated by other arcane spells, but also by relics and practices. However, after being examined, we have no reason to believe that he is lying. He was not present. You have provided substantial evidence to suggest that Davian had a motive and was seemingly involved. The book from the crime scene is particularly damning. Strange that you mentioned some sort of defenses at this townhouse. This was Davian's townhouse, yes?
Yes, this townhouse was defended by a very rude rug and some sort of stone statue that held the sword and the shield with Davian's crest on them.
Smith, and she kind of gestures to a guard, a very nondescript looking guard who suddenly kind of steps forward. When our guards searched Davian's townhouse, there was nothing of the sort, was there? They encountered no defenses. The guard sort of nods his head. That's correct, my lady. These must have been activated after we conducted our initial search.
But Davian was out of the city.
Yes, that brings me on to my last point. After a brief investigation, Davian and his war wizard, along with several guards, teleported themselves back to Weymouth, Davian's personal city, his lands. They teleported just after we believe that Panam was killed. His war wizard, a halfling woman named Shavine, had been asking strange questions about Panam's investigation, where his quarters were located, that sort of thing as well. With all of this in mind, and given the effects of the Zone of Truth and your promising and compelling arguments the last time we spoke, I am willing to release your seneschal into your custody, technically. If this isn't a pending investigation, this investigation will continue, but I am more than happy to release your seneschal to you. I would only request that if we need to speak with him further, you make sure that he is able to attend us here in Arabelle. Do you find these terms agreeable, Baron, Baroness?
I do.
Yes, that sounds fair.
One last note, then, before this very unfortunate matter is at least put behind us. Whatever happened here, it is connected to all of you. The attack, they waited until I was no longer present. I do not feel that I was the target of this fey that was summoned. Perhaps some of the other people who were present, but it feels very focused on yourselves. Davian is a competent military commander. He has very loyal people that serve him. I would recommend you are cautious, and Arabelle is more than willing to assist you, but be wary. This is a very dangerous field that you have entered. This is not a battleground where swords and spells alone will protect you.
Mark, above game,
Yes.
because we know that this has to do with like the righteous ruler of Cormyr situation. First of all, have we made any of that clear to the Duchess? And second of all, what would be the implications of me revealing that? Like, would it be her business? You know, like would that matter to Arabelle?
Well, I think that if you've shown her the letters, and the letters are very clearly Davian,
Okay.
This Lord Davian basically being like, it's not fair. Like, we were cheated out of our rightful titles, and we should never have been banished, and all this kind of stuff. I don't think you've mentioned what the Eladrin said during the attack, because just before the Eladrin was summoned, the possessed priestess kind of cried something out about like, the true heirs to this land will inherit it, or something like that. You vaguely have memories of that. I don't think that's ever been mentioned to her. And certainly, nothing else. I think it's just these letters. And she seems to kind of look over these with a sort of like, yes, as if it's not surprising to her.
And Arabelle is also part of Cormyr? Is that correct?
Yes. So Cormyr is a very expansive nation. It's a very large kingdom. There is numerous cities. There is a queen that rules all of Cormyr in general, and then she has nobles like dukes and duchesses. So Azara served the Duke of Marsember, which is another big city. The dukes and the duchesses tend to rule the big cities and the surrounding lands. And Eveningstar probably would have once been part of Arabelle's land, but it's been given to you as an independent place, which is kind of unusual. It's kind of different that would have been given to you.
Then I guess knowing that she knows this, I kind of want to not conspiratorially, but like trustingly, casually, less formally, ask the Duchess, we are new to ruling, and
Indeed,
and certainly understand that some may think we're not the right rulers. What can you tell us about the way people regard Eveningstar, and how do you regard Eveningstar, if you will be so candid with me?
You are an unspoken one, Agnis, I believe you prefer to go by. You are new to ruling, and Eveningstar is still a young town. The lord before you was not a very particularly welcoming fellow, not cruel, but a miser, somebody who cared more for his gold vaults than he cared for the people. It has reached word of Arabelle that you seem to be very well connected to your people, to the people that work the land. That's good for a small town, but be wary. There is a reason that, and I know that you have your own opinions about this, Agnis, there is a reason that some people are capable of ruling and that we do not have democracies. The population as a whole is a lot of very different voices with a lot of very different opinions on how things should be done. They need to be unified. I think that you are doing something very noble and very just, as befitting of a nation of Cormyr. We are a nation of knights and nobility, of valorous hearts who have put down dragons and fought in wars against evil empires. But we must still be rulers, and that is always at the forefront of our mind. I look
And-
forward to watching your careers very closely. And she just sort of like nods in your direction. There's an element of respect of like, you know, she respects what you're doing, but does think you're young. You get the impression that she's like, I'm interested to see how things turn out.
Then
And
it sounds
anybody
like
with a high, go on.
it sounds like you think the true heirs of Cormyr are in power now.
Yes, of course. The Oberskiers have been descended from the direct line of those who founded Cormyr, from the earliest alliances of elves and humans to those who defeated the dragons that terrorized this land. Of course, yes. And the people of Cormyr. The nobility is something of pride to them. The knights are of a matter of pride, of course.
I nod, satisfied. Thank you for your candor.
You are welcome. I courtroom politics are one thing, but there is also a time when one needs to be honest, especially with those who have much to learn and can be of both asset and use and bring much to the nation. I believe. I think that you have, like I said, promising careers, but I will watch closely. And I believe that you had sent word, Magister Azara and Baron Crownsilver, of something to arrange some sort of alcohol shipments and things like that. I believe that this letter was lost in your previous communications. I will ensure that something is arranged. That we will make sure that trade between Arabelle and Eveningstar is suitable, and that the roads are protected by both of our forces. I feel would be beneficial.
Azara will bow very deeply or curtsy very deeply and respectfully and say, Your involvement and our partnership is much appreciated, Duchess. Thank you very much.
Of course. Remember this: if there is anything that you require help with, whether investigative or political, or even if you are encountering foes, enemies, and you need military aid, I will do my best to assist you as best I can. Now, I believe that you have a town to return to, and I have much business to attend to. And again, travel safe, be wary. And she kind of nods, stands up, and her guards follow out with her, basically leaving you alone temporarily. An awkward silence hangs.
We should retrieve our boy.
Oh yeah, can we go get Dusk?
I think that as you begin to kind of get up to leave, he is probably brought to you, or a guard says, "We'll bring him to you, sir." Like they'll bring him up to you. Rather, they wouldn't expect you to go down and collect him yourselves. You have Shadowbriar, you Willowsong rather. You have Willowsong, you have Sarah Lee, you have Alyssa with you. You have your small number of guards, and of course Aaron, the page boy, all eagerly waiting. And Aaron has done his best to hire a few horses and make sure that you have supplies for the return journey home. One of the horses is a donkey, but he assures you it was the best he could do.
Well done,
yeah.
Aaron. You have you've grown
thanks.
much on this trip, and I am proud to have you as my page.
Thank you, my lady. And he tries to do like an awkward bow that he's been taught. And he kind of manages to just about pull it off.
Agnes tries not to laugh.
You do see him kind of glance towards Marcel as well, like as you're kind of giving him these compliments. And then, within a few moments, Dusk returns, no longer bothering to feign the limp. He just kind of, with his head hanging a little bit low, he is brought out to you out the front where your various, transportation and luggage waits. And he just kind of very humbly stands before the four of you. My Lord and Lady, Magister, Minister, I can only offer my deepest, my most humble gratitude for what you've done. I don't know how, I don't know if, and he looks towards Marcel and Tarkhal, if you found my companion, but I am grateful for you proving my innocence. And if your wish is for me to leave your employ, speak it and I will do so. But if you would have me, I would still like to serve and offer you what aid I can.
You didn't work to free you so that you could go work for someone else. Of course we
It's
want
a
you
poor
with us, Dusk.
investment.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Dusk.
That is...
On one condition, which is that right here, right now, if there are more things you are keeping from us that could endanger our reputation and our family, you must reveal them now.
Of course. I don't wish to say too much out loud in the busy street, and he kind of looks around. Given what I have told Minister Marcel and Baron Crownsilver, I believe that they would understand, knowing my connections. I do not believe there to be any risk from my end. Depending on... And he looks towards Tarkhal and Marcel. Did you find Xander? Did you speak with him?
No, we didn't even get a chance actually to look.
Try.
So
That
We didn't
is...
even look.
That is a relief to me, Baron. I think it's better that you have not. To be either in debt to the organization or to have compromised Xander's operation here in Arabelle would have potentially been unfavorable on Eveningstar. But if you have not, then I think that there is no more need to fear.
Yes, I assume that being in debt to them would give you a real reason to limp then.
Yes, certainly. Perhaps not just myself either, but yes, a limp or worse for getting them involved in something like this. But no, my connection to that organization was severed a long time ago. I foolishly went to them in the hopes of finding out information about our problems. I believe that I should stick to my duties as a seneschal from now on. I'm not really the spy master that I used to be. And he kind of smiles jokingly. You don't think he's joking. He smiles like, oh, I used to be a spy master, lol. And then it's like, but no, seriously, I was a spy master.
it's like
Azara,
a JK unless.
unless.
Yeah, JK unless.
Azara will kind of
yeah.
laugh at that and say, well, there's always time. We can build back up your skills again. And just kind of like joking, like, haha, unless.
He looks and says, as far as I'm concerned, Magister, Baron, Baroness, Minister, my skills are yours. For now and forever. And he bows.
Agnis and Azara made exactly the same face.
I feel like our confidant rank, like Persona 5, just like went up a star.
Very much so. Very much so. Especially with Dusk. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the base, insight check here is, he feels he owes you a great debt. And is also, there is a sense of gratitude, not just that you did it for your own benefit, but you actually cared enough to help him, is something he's probably not used to. So,
well,
has made a difference. Well, maybe not Marcel. Yeah. I
The
think
rest
the
of
other
us cared.
Yeah, Marcel. But yeah, maybe to Marcel, a man of Dusk's skill set could perhaps be useful one day in pursuing shadowy figures in the city. Perhaps is something that he may be quite useful for. But with that, we have, I believe, a very lovely montage of a day's travel of the four of you and the rest of your entourage traveling back to your town of Eveningstar. It's only been a few days, so not much has changed. The bridge that was once burnt down by a very mysterious fire before all of this began is nearing
I barely
repair.
even heard about that. I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about. It is nearing completion. The bridge itself. The town is still undergoing much construction, like a lot of the damage done by the Thornhand and the new buildings that you've purchased for construction. That's going to take some time. Same with the keep. Many of the walls and the sections of the keep are still being repaired. But the people smile brightly, preparing for a hot Cormier summer as they get ready to live out their lives. And such lives will continue for a few days, but there are a couple of things that happen, and I'm sure you guys have your own stuff that you'd like to kind of do and say. So really, this is where I kind of hand it over to you guys. Is there anything that your characters particularly want to do? Are there people that you want to speak to? Do you guys want to talk together? Like, what's the plan here?
Mr. Hulmes,
Yes.
I would
Let's
like
go
to do
with
a thing.
Mica Burton.
Oh my God, that's me. One day, nice summer day, not too hot, Azara would like
Mhm.
to invite Agnis on a walk about. Is there like a garden, like someplace to pick flowers, like a wildflower field?
Yeah, there's the Kingswood. I mean, Eveningstar
Yeah.
is just on the cusp of the wood itself. So, perhaps maybe an hour or so walk south, and you're entering this ancient old English wood. English is in like, the my country, what it would be, or like an old Germanic forest. Like it is old. Like walking around, the trees here feel old. The earth is covered in, thick grass and moss. Wildflowers grow everywhere. It is beautiful and serene, the Kingswood.
This is Agnes's jam. She
Uh,
is into that.
I think Azara would have packed like a little basket with tea and cookies and scones, and walked far enough into the field to know that they'd be alone and find like maybe like a wildflower clearing and kind of like set a blanket down and kind of start like setting out treats.
Agnes will, like, as she's walking along, she's finding all these flowers and plants, and she's like exclaiming over them to Azara, random things that like nobody cares about, but she's kind of musing to herself about how, like, if I hadn't had to lead, it would have been nice to focus my skills into something other than fire, something more about growth in life, but well, one does what one has to.
Well, if you don't mind me speaking out of turn, as I feel like we're on a friendship walk here rather than a professional walk, it's never too late. You could take some time, study some books, spend time with the trees. I'm sure your brother would like that.
She considers that, and you can tell that it's making her think, but she's like, fire's more useful in protecting a town.
I understand. And when they get to the clearing, Azara will kind of like, put everything out and invite Agnes to sit down and say, Agnes, I hope you don't mind me taking you out this far. I just wanted to ensure that we would have some privacy, as there are always so many people bustling around our keep. And I just wanted to be honest with you, have an open discussion. I know that you always say you trust me, but I feel the need to preface myself with everything I say comes with honest intentions. Everything I say comes to benefit you and your brother and Eveningstar as a whole. And I just wanted to make you aware of a small concern I have. Nothing major, nothing egregious. I just think that as your magister of all things magic, this is important. Back in Arabelle, when we were fighting that horrific rug, just awful.
That
just
rug. May we live 1,000 years and never again see a rug such as that one.
Zara kind of like raises her teacup to that. And Willow Song was healing our poor minister. Something felt off. I'm attuned to deep magic. I can sense others' magic. I can sense magic in anything. And when she healed him, the magic wasn't coming from her. It felt maybe a magic item or an outside force, but it felt off. Not evil, not bad, just different.
Is that so strange that a person may use a magic item to heal?
It is strange when they claim it is magic of their own.
Interesting.
I don't suspect her of foul play. Once again, yes, I did smell that perfume, but it wasn't so much of a she's done it, but we may want to look out for her. If she is in play with something unsavory, then she could be in danger. Or she could not be as innocent as she seems. I'm not casting doubt. I'm only offering possible theories here. I don't feel one way or the other. I barely know the girl, and I don't want to cast doubt on someone that is so close to your brother. I just thought that...
I mean, close.
Azara will kind of smile knowingly. I do not mean to bring this up only to you and not to him as to sow dissension or doubt. I just know that he is close to her and he may not hear this with all clarity. And I would like another set of eyes on Willow Song as we move forward.
I can't sense these things as you can. What should I look out for?
I wouldn't say so much look out for her magically, but look out for your brother. As Duchess Marlier stated, we have to be very careful with those who we trust. Marcel and I were assigned to you. Our duty to you is bound in blood. We cannot defy you lest we be killed for it. Also, at least I have taken a liking to you two as rulers, so I have a personal stake. Marcel, maybe just for the coin, but maybe he'll come around. Either way, no one else has a blood loyalty to you like we do. Anyone else we allow into our inner circle could have other ulterior motives. So just keep an eye on her in that way. If I've seen young love, I've seen what it can do. Just be wary is all. And I hope that none of my suspicions are founded. I hope that she is a delightful girl with a magical necklace and a fae for a mother, but in my experience, that's not always the case.
My brother has been quite, maybe not secretive, but certainly not forthcoming. And it has me worried.
Sibling bonds are tricky.
I mean, I'm not that much older than him. I mean, what's 100 years, really?
What's 100 years?
In an elf's life?
Honestly.
But it just, sometimes the distance seems so far.
Well, possibly getting an interest in plants and life versus death will grow your bond. Maybe you need to get on the level.
I know about plants. What cantrip do I have?
Druidcraft.
Do I? I
Doesn't
don't
have
see
it.
that on my
Doesn't have it.
Agnes is like, I know plants. She's like racking her brain for what she can make happen with plants.
And Azara will kind of incline her head and say,
I'm sure you do.
So maybe reaching out to Tarkhal in the way of wilderness and something that reminds him of home might strengthen that bond. And with your bond strengthened, Eveningstar can only shine brighter.
As usual, your counsel is sound. Thank you, Magister.
You can call me Azara, please. If I can call you Agnes, there's no need for formalities here. And she'll kind of pour you another cup of tea.
Nice. And as you guys finish this lovely little moment, Tarkhal, at some point, whilst either this conversation is happening or maybe a few days even before it, you and Willowsong comes to find you wherever you might be or whatever is happening, or maybe you seek her out. I don't know. You tell me, Shady.
Yeah,
but at some point,
I was hoping that like the day after we got back to town, so not the first day, but the next day, I wanted to bring Willowsong to Hulda to try some of the the Kingswood, the fog.
Yeah, the beer, the ale kind of thing of that Hulda's been brewing. Yeah, you take her. She meets you. Probably stays in like a guest room in the keep. But you kind of take her out sort of early morning to a small little kind of stone cottage that sits at the very edge of the wood, kind of on the very outskirts of the village. The roof is covered in moss. There are plants growing everywhere, including a rock which seems to have become vastly overgrown with various types of mushrooms that seem to have sprung up perhaps a little too quickly than you'd find comfortable. But you see this kind of long-limbed furbolg in a big kind of straw hat and kind of almost like farmer's dungarees, no shoes on, like the trousers rolled up, just big kind of hairy feet squelching around in the grass, as this very sort of kind of not quite male, not quite female figure kind of looks over. Oh, hello there. Remind me if it's not the Baron, is it? Kind of looks around and, what's this? A lovely little elf as well, friend. Well, hello there. Can I help you with anything? Just kind of like looks around. They look like they are really out of their mind on drugs when you come over. Like they are just, their eyes can't focus. They're kind of swaying around, but just smiling and like looking around at everything.
Well, Hulda, I wanted to introduce you to Willowsong, but it seems like you might be a bit busy. So
No, I'm not busy. I'm talking with my companions, talking with the leaves and the mushrooms and the trees. And I've got so many stories to tell me, young Tarkhal. Oh, you've gotten big, haven't you? Must have been a few years since you were running around in the woods. Ah, very sweet. Ah, would you like a little bit? And he offers like this kind of crushed up herb, just a little under the tongue. Very nice.
No, I think we're okay. I was
Yes, I don't think that's a very good idea. And she kind of like looks at you like, and she whispers, "It's poisonous."
Oh my god. Hulda, I don't think you should. Have you had this before?
Oh yes, but you can only have a little bit. You've got to be very careful. Too much, and you might go blind. But it's all right. I can still see. And then you can see him like blindly trying to reach for a drink that's nearby, and then
Oh my
eventually
God.
grabs it and then is like tips it back. Well, you come back anytime you want, Baron. But it's a lovely day, and if anything, I'm working on a few things for your Magister. Couple of days, I've got some potions ready, that sort of thing. You just come on back my way.
Right,
I
well,
should be right as rain by then.
Okay, I'll see you in a couple of days. Just stay around your cottage, will you? And just listen to the plants.
I'm not going anywhere. Don't you worry, Baron. I'll be nice and toasty right here. And then he just puts a little bit of this powder on his tongue, and you see like a little shiver kind of go through his body. And he's like, "Oh, that's the good stuff." And then just seems to kind of almost like drift off to sleep. Just kind of starts snoring loudly a few moments later. Willow Song is like, "Well, I don't think that he's really in a state to be helping us with any drinks, but he is right about it being a lovely day. Actually, there was something I wanted to talk to you about, Tarkhal, something that I spoke with my mother about back in the city. I didn't want to bring it up in front of the others because it's quite personal. Should we take a walk?
Oh, yes. Yeah, let's take a walk.
We're so close to the woods as well. It'd be quite nice. There's a lovely wildflower garden not far from here. And she kind of leads you by the hand, kind of gingerly taking you like her kind of slender fingers, and leads you through into the woods, and finds like a small rocky outcropping next to a field, and sits down. And you can see that she's got something out of her pocket, like a kind of wrapped up in like a couple of like big palm leaves almost. And she kind of like taps the rock next to her, and it's just like, you should come sit. There's some things I wanted to talk to you about, if it's all right.
Tarkhal just like smiles and takes a seat.
Well, the thing is I spoke to my mother, and you know that she is, well, she thinks of you. She feels that you represent some of the things she wants to accomplish in this world. And I know that you have your concerns about her, but you seem to suggest, you seem to me that you wanted to help make sure that her powers aren't being used, well, inappropriately.
Yeah, I that's exactly right. I still can't get the image of being your mother's gardener out of my mind.
Well, and the truth is, Tarkhal, is I do enjoy spending time with you, and I think I need to spend some time with Mother for a while. But there was something I wanted to give you, but it's sort of it's a two-way thing, really. And she holds open this, she kind of opens up these palm leaves, and there is just a green cloak pin, like a brilliant green gemstone, and it just glitters in a way that you've never seen, with a kind of gold banding around it. This is not just a piece of jewelry. My mother's offered to lend you some of her power, magical power, that is. The ability to conjure spells, to gain benefits, powers that, well, maybe you don't already have. We want to work with you. I want to work with you. I want you to help me so I can help you. Is that something that maybe you would like? And she kind of like shyly kind of turns away and like awkwardly looks to the side.
Willow Song, I trust you very much. I don't know exactly why. I don't know if it's because you smell like home or something about you. I don't know. But if you're telling me that I can safely use the powers of your mother to help purge the land and to lead Eveningstar, then of course.
Oh, Most certainly, definitely. These powers will help you do that. Certainly they will. And you can trust me. And she kind of just offers you up this brooch. This is my gift. And with it, you'll feel the magic come to you. And I can help show you how to use it over time.
Yes, I'd like that very much.
Yeah, she's just kind of holding it out with her palms open.
So it's like you said, it's a brooch. Can I like attach it? Can I?
Yeah. And there's definitely the kind of like, you know, if this was a movie, we get the moment where like Tarkhal takes it from her hands and the hands touch for a moment, and then you kind of feel like the kind of like the magic kind of spark as you pull the brooch away. And yeah, it's this beautiful emerald brooch pin, like a kind of big circular green gemstone with a gold banding. And yeah, you can feel there is something about this. You can almost feel power flowing from it. You feel, even just holding it, you feel quite regal. You feel majestic holding it.
Sick.
Yeah. And she'll probably help put it on, like onto your cloak if you kind of let her. And yeah.
Yeah, like prom. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you accept it, it's like a bond connects you and Willow's song that you weren't sure of before. Like there's something more to it. Not like you can hear her thoughts or anything like that, but almost like you can just feel the emotions coming off of her. And yeah, congratulations, Shady. You now have a pact.
Huzzah! You said I can feel her emotions. What kind of emotions is Tarkhal feeling from her?
It's not as like clear cut. It's not like pure empathy, like, you know, the ability to feel emotions. It's like you can just connect to her on more of a spiritual level. Like you can almost feel like there's definitely joy. There's a lot of joy and happiness that you've accepted the gift, I would say.
Okay. All right. I think Tarkhal would just look at Willowsong again, kind of like almost wide-eyed, feeling this new sort of like you said that I can feel like power from it. Is that like an immediate bond of like, hey, I know I've got some stuff?
I think that probably what it's going to be is like over like the next couple of days, Willowsong probably teaches you to harness it and teaches you those first spells. So those early cantrips and first level spells you've picked. So like over time, she begins showing it to you. But that moment where you first take the brooch and you feel that bond snap, it's almost like something snaps, like a cord between your hearts kind of snaps together. Yeah, you feel just like you could lead. You feel like more confident and that you do deserve this, and that you're gonna use these powers. And yeah, like it's that kind of bolster of confidence, and like, yeah, you can feel the magic kind of swirling in your veins. But yeah, anything else? Any questions before we jump over to someone else?
No, jump away.
Okay. So Nate or Anna, do you guys have anything specific? Or I've got a couple of things for both of you. So if you guys have anything, let me know.
The only specific thing that Agnis would do upon coming home is visit King One Eye and the Tressym contingent.
So King One Eye, in his guard tower palace that he has constructed, which is a filthy den of Tressym poo and nests and all sorts of scavenged bits and pieces from all over the Eveningstar, is all nestled in. When you return, do you cast Speak with Animals, or are you just going to kind of acknowledge him in a sort of kind of one-to-one?
Yeah, I'll cast Speak with Animals.
Okay.
If he's so like, because I guess what my plan was to go there, see if he's there, see if he seems to want to check in.
That's right. Actually, I'm gonna retcon that, because he was sent off with Twig before you left, and they are not back yet. So when you check in with other Tressym, so you maybe find some other Tressym flying around, and if you ask them with Speak with Animals, they just say, no, the king has yet to return. We have not seen him in some time.
Okay. I make pleasantries.
We follow his orders, human queen. The king thinks highly of you. We shall listen to you for now. And then they kind of fly off.
Agnis bows deeply.
Sure. While we wait for Nate to get back, then at some point, Agnis, and you can decide when this is, over the next couple of weeks, Agnis is visited by two folks, two robed figures in kind of colors of orange and yellow and reds and browns, arrive at the edges of Eveningstar coming from the Kingswood. Your guards probably would react and come and inform you immediately, as the townsfolk are getting a bit jittery because one of them is a goblin. The other one appears to be a very wild-looking man, like with a big flaming beard, and a very kind of stern set of eyes. And that kind of triggers something, a small memory to you. It reminds you of somebody who would have taught you the Druid Circle stuff a long time ago.
Oh,
when you were
reminds me
younger.
of or is?
I mean, the description sounds like it might match a fellow called Garland, who was a druid who helped teach you your magic.
Cool. Do I have a positive relationship with him?
I'll leave that to you. You can decide that.
I would say, yeah.
Okay.
So
sure.
I get really excited at that news, and I'll try to. They're here at the keep?
Yeah, so the guards kind of say, well, if you want to meet them, Baroness, we can bring them here to the keep. This goblin does seem a little dangerous. We do want to keep an eye on them. And this fellow, you say you know the man?
Yes. What was his name?
Garland.
Garland.
Garland Six Flames. He's basically one of the senior druids that would have taught you a long time ago.
Cool. Yes, I know Garland.
Right, very well, milady. We will escort him and his companion here. Just please wait for a moment, and then they kind of step off. They return shortly later with two figures, both dressed in these kind of flame-colored robes. They wear kind of blackened wreaths. So rather than like a wreath of like olive leaves and things like that, it's like blackened wood that's been charred and burnt around their heads. And they both arrive. And one is Garland Six Flames, who's like an older human man, big, bushy, like wild Pat Rothfuss beard, just kind of like out, like, and then long, dark brown hair that kind of stretches down his back, meshes in with all the robes. And he'd look like a vagrant. He'd look like some wild man living out in the woods, were it not for these robes around his neck. Then the figure next to him is a young woman, but a goblin. You can see that they kind of have this kind of pallid greenish yellow skin. They kind of hunched over with like these huge big yellow eyes, very razor sharp filed mouth, but they wear the same robes. They just don't have the circlet. They don't have the same flamed circlet. And when Garland sees you, he kind of rises up to his full sort of 6'4" height. Ah, well, if it isn't my little fire starter, Agnis.
Garland! She goes in
kind of
for a
opens
big
his
hug.
hands. Yeah, and he can see like he's got bear like strength, and he kind of like lifts you up a little bit. He's just like, to think that when the circle told me that you had become some baroness for some town, I scarcely believed it. But I suppose your parents finally got their way and instilled you into this civilization. He kind of looks around it all like in disgust.
It's not all bad, Garland. There's some fun to be had and some people to help.
Ah, well, if there are people to help and some fun to be had, I suppose it can't be all bad. Let me introduce, and he gestures, my latest apprentice. This is Charla. Charla, this is my former student, Agnis. And the goblin kind of looks up, just like, yes, pleasure to meet you.
Agnis offers a hand to shake.
Oh. A very long-nailed, kind of very grubby-looking hand reaches up to shake it as well. You can see that her hands, this goblin's arms and hands, are covered in deep burns, like all the way up to like her biceps. Like they're really twisted in heavy scarring. But she shakes your hand without flinching, and then kind of retreats, and she pulls the hands up into these long-sleeved robes, almost like hiding them.
Do I know that to be normal for someone who's training in the Circle of Wildfire?
Every time you got burnt, they healed you. Either that happened before, or you don't know.
Okay.
But
And do I
anytime you
know
would've
what
got-
this like burned circlet means? Is it symbolic of some sort of position?
It's significant of Garland's leadership position. So he's like a senior druid, basically. And
Cool.
there are titles. So Garland is called Garland Six Flames. And he introduces Charla. He introduces her as Two Flames. So it means that she is of a lower rank.
Mhm.
There are multiple things that I've come to discuss with you, little fire starter. Perhaps you may wish to. Do you have advisors or commanders or this sort of thing? There is some news that I should make you aware of. Nothing urgent, but something you should be concerned with.
Certainly, I'll gather everyone. You can meet my brother. Half brother.
Yes, the half elf, I believe. Yes, please. He's from the Kingswood, if I remember correctly. Is that true?
Indeed.
Good to have a fine, strapping woodsman around. Very, very good. Yes,
I think you'll like him.
Very well, yes. Yes, these knights, and he's kind of like admiring those, like, kind of nods around. Too much metal for my liking, but they seem like a good sort, good fighters. And then
Agnes nods, and her demeanor overall is like the difference between coming home to like the farm versus like what you're like at the office or something. So like her demeanor is totally different with him, just kind of like easygoing, lots of slaps on the back, belly laughs, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, cool. You gather everybody up, and you all are brought into probably the dining area of Starwatch Keep, Eveningstar's Keep, and Agnes is sat there with a goblin in tiny robes, kind of watching everything, probably eating. Audrey is looking in fear as this goblin is devouring like racks of chicken and things like that, and then this big burly wild man who is just this huge bear of a human in these very elaborate flame-themed robes.
Important question mirrored by chat. How many flames is Agnes?
You don't know yet. When you left, you were 3 flames. You were just barely graduated from an apprentice, but maybe that's changed.
Cool.
Sure.
So I gather everyone, Azara, Marcel, Tarkhal. Is Willisong with Tarkhal at this point?
She could be.
I think that if you gathered, I think she would probably be either off on her own or in her room at the keep. Yeah.
Sure. Like if Willisong's with Tarkhal when Agnes, well, I guess she'd send someone to fetch him. I think whoever she sends, she's like, bring Tarkhal, don't bring Willisong.
Okay, it would be so it would be your manservant that you go to send. What's his name? Your butler.
It's with an H, right?
Wait, I have it here.
Nigel Goodfellow.
Not an H.
Nigel. So you'd send Nigel, and he'd be like, "Am I supposed to just tell the young woman to go away, Baroness? That seems frightfully rude.
Certainly,
but if that is your wish,
Willisong would not expect to join a meeting about matters of state. Certainly.
Yes, very well, my lady. And he kind of shuffles off in a doddering sense. And Tarkhal, Nigel come and find you. It's kind of like a knock at the door, and then he peeks in like, are you alone, Baron Crownsilver? Or do you have company?
Oh, I'm alone, Nigel. Yes. What's up? What's going on?
He enters in. Your sister requests your presence. She has some very strange visitors in robes. A very savage-looking fellow and a goblin, I believe. But she has asked everyone to attend some sort of meeting.
Oh, all right. I'll be right there.
Very well. He just kind of looks around nosily in the room. I'll just be off. He kind of
I haven't even kissed her yet.
No one
and then
hears
he'll go and find Marcel. Mr. Marcel. I'm sorry to bother you. The Baroness requests your presence in a meeting with some strange fellows.
Which ones?
They appear to be. They wear robes similar to Baroness Crownsilver's. A wild-looking fellow and a goblin, I believe.
How necessary did this meeting seem?
The Baroness has requested it, so it must be necessary.
He's like at my door asking me.
He's like knocking on the door. Yeah, he's like at the door.
I like just slowly open the door and just glare at him. The mask is like covering half the face, so you can't really read the expression.
Shall I tell her that you'll be on your way, sir? Very good then, sir. You just hear her kind of like shuffling off. You probably would hear Marcel, your brother, in your head. A goblin in robes. That's. I must admit, I'm a little curious to see that. Aren't you?
I mean, we've seen 3. Oh wait, those were kobolds. We've seen 3 kobolds in robes. 1 goblin in a robe seems like a much easier feat.
But just why here? I'm just curious, brother. If you wish to get some rest, I understand.
Marcel's like, well, we were attacked by a strange robot. We have comrades whose weaponry is powered by souls, and well, I guess this isn't the weirdest thing. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, very good point. Very good point. Very fair. Very fairly put, brother. You're correct. Yes, not the strangest.
Oh, and I'm talking to a sword.
Well, technically, it's the soul of your brother inside a sword, not just a sword.
Well, you have a point there, then.
I know. I'm a sword. I have a... I've been thinking of that one for a while. I'm so glad I got to use it.
Bravo.
Mark it. The best quip of the game.
The mask covers it, but like with how attuned I am to him, like
your brother knows that you smiled or laughed at it.
Yeah,
he knows.
He can sense that I'm like trying not to laugh at that under the mask.
I think like there's this really like you feel from the sword like for a long time. There's like a really brotherly moment, like this, like you can feel Marcel's soul like really resonates the fact that you're laughing at that joke. Like it's like the first time he's gotten you to laugh in a long time, and it really means a lot to him. So it kind of resonates in the heart a little bit. But yeah, so well, whether Marcel turns up, I will leave to you. Azara, I'm assuming you will attend if you are requested.
Yes.
And yeah, anybody who comes down, you find Agnis speaking with these 2 strange fellows, this young goblin woman and a big burly wild man.
So Agnis, are these your friends?
Yeah, Tarkhal. This is Garland. Garland Tarkhal, my half brother.
This giant 6'4" man with hands the size of like bear paws. It's just like, you must be the half-elf brother. Good to meet you from the Kingswood, eh?
Yes,
and,
good
like,
to meet
shakes
you.
your
He's
hand.
like shaking me.
Ah, yes. His hands feel really warm, like this, like a kind of like a, a gentle fire kind of is burning inside them, and you almost swear that like some ash comes off, like after he finishes shaking your hands. He's just like, yes, good to meet you. Heard a lot of good things from your mother. And then he sees Azara and he properly bows, and it's very kind of like regal, like he's seen something from court. This must be the war wizard of the town. Pleasure. Garland Six Flames at your service.
Azara, kind of shocked at this like proper bow, will politely curtsy back and say,
he nudges the little goblin woman, and she's just like, oh, and then she kind of awkwardly curtsies like in this giant robe.
Anyone who has taught Agnis what she knows must come from great power, so it is an honor to have such a spellcaster as yourself in our court today.
Court flattery. None of that for me, please, my dear. None of that for me. But still, thank you. And then he looks around. Is Marcel there?
Yeah, he comes down.
So he's like, and who is this mysterious fellow? Nice to meet you. And he offers a big, burly paw.
Meet Marcel.
Marcel, strong name.
Our Minister of War.
Kind of grips it and gives you like a nice, Minister of Arms is his title.
That's what it was.
Yeah. He kind of gives you a firm handshake, Marcel, and kind of like looks you down. And yeah, he this does not look like some pompous noble or like fancy mage. This looks like a guy who lives out in the woods by himself, probably like, kills bears on his own. And then he gestures, and this is Charla Two Flames, my apprentice. And he gestures to the goblin woman, who kind of looks around awkwardly, kind of shrinks down. Yes, very nice to meet you all.
Charla, where are you from?
You see, she kind of looks up at Garland, and then he looks down. He's like, I don't know. You tell them. He says, well, I don't really have a place that I'm from. Some tribe up in the mountains. I don't really know. I can't even remember what they were called. I left them a long time ago. Not fond memories, I'm afraid, Baroness.
Family can be difficult. She chuffs Tarkhal on the shoulder.
I wouldn't call it a family, but yes, you're right. But no, the Circle of Ash were kind enough to take me in when they found me. I had been injured by our shaman, and I've been learning their ways ever since.
Their ways are marvelous. But enough talk. You said you were here on important business, Garland. What do you have to tell us?
Yes. Well, one is personal matter, but I think it's fitting that your brother and your companions are here. You have been granted a title, granted additional position. Agnis, it is my duty to inform you that you are hereby known as Agnis Five Flames, a mere one rank below myself.
Would Agnes know why?
No, you have no idea.
So she goes, why?
A matter of several things, really. We have learned that you have become the leader of this village, town, what do you call them? Civilization. And that has a certain pedigree of status amongst it. The rest of the circle believe that it is to our benefit to have somebody who is integrated with Cormyrean society to help promote our ideals, but also to keep us abreast of matters that happen within the cities that many of us don't wish to visit. And you seem better suited to it than myself. The other is that, and it combines with some news that I have that I wish to report to you all, is that we have lost a few of our druids. One of our senior members went missing months ago now, but we have yet to find a suitable replacement. So I suggested that you be advanced in your
Who
studies.
do I know them?
No one you know, an old master. They had close relations with the summer court. That is the other matter that I wish to come and speak to you all about. It is good that your war wizard companion Azara is here. Things are becoming quite tense between the Fae and the mortal realm. We've had the Circle of Ash has been monitoring it for some time. We have not yet decided upon which side of the fence we will fall, but there have been attacks. Cormyrean forces, mages, have been running small skirmishes into the Feywild. The Feywild, particularly the Summer Court, have been doing the same, raiding and attacking small villages and traveling bands here in Cormyr in the material plane. It is very much a they started it seemingly situation. The Cormyreans that we have spoken to claim that they have merely retaliated against the Feywild attacks on them. The Summer Court claims exactly the opposite, that it was Cormyr that struck them first. Things are becoming tense. Eveningstar borders the Kingswood. It has always had a close relationship to the Feywild. I thought it best to come here and warn you of this personally.
And that is where one of your elders went missing in these skirmishes?
Not in the skirmish, no. The Summer Court, the Fae, are notoriously difficult in certain regards. She was an advisor to the Summer Court. We know that she was returning from ambassadorial meetings and vanished. That is all the information we have. We don't even know where it happened. The Summer Court say that they sent guards with her. They too have vanished.
What is the cause of these skirmishes? Why do they continue to happen?
That is the problem. It seems to be fueled by itself. The Fae hear that one of their groups have been attacked, that members of their their court have been kidnapped, they launch an attack back on Cormyr. The Summer Court are, well, they're aggressive. They're very passionate. They care more about the thrill of a fight than they care about the reasoning behind it, behind the politics. It is a shame that spring is coming to an end. The Spring Court have been perhaps a bit more understanding, more analytical, more political, but the Summer Court are difficult to rein in. I fear that until the Autumn Court takes charge, it may continue like this. These battles may escalate.
Tarkhal has a friend who is very close to the Fae. Tarkhal, do you think that Willowsong might be able to advise us about the cause of these skirmishes, why they're occurring?
Tarkhal would like grab his brooch a little bit and be like, I don't see why she wouldn't want to help. I can go fetch her. She should be in her room, or we can send Nigel.
No need to fetch her. We can ask her some other time, but I'm sure Garland's going to stay a while, won't you, Garland?
I'm afraid that I cannot stay too much longer, but I will need to make my way by nightfall. It is, first of all, I find the idea of sleeping in a bed or staying in civilization quite uncomfortable. But also, with the lack of leadership, I feel that I'm needed back in my grove to tend to my seedlings and my apprentices. I'm afraid I will not be able to stay long. What of yourself, Magister, Minister? You seem to be here as advisors on matters of magic and military.
Yes,
if you have any questions for me.
Unfortunately, I do know personally of some Cormyrians' plans to wreak havoc on the Feywild, so this is not uncommon knowledge to me. I had already had it in my plans to possibly seek out expedition to the Feywild and make contact with some of their leaders. I know that is a dangerous feat. However, I feel like as Magister of Eveningstar, keeping Eveningstar safe from potential retaliation is important, and I would like to bridge a gap between our world and theirs, seeing as we mean the Feywild no harm. Hopefully they mean us no harm. It is unfortunate that the actions of others have spilled over onto the innocent, but hopefully if we reach an understanding, I know the Summer Court is prickly, to say the least. However, when dealt with properly, everything can be solved. So if you need anything, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I will possibly be reaching out to you in the coming months when we are making contact with the Feywild, if you would be amenable to helping.
We can begin making those preparations. It is not an easy thing. One cannot simply just appear to the court. There are channels that need to be followed. Balance needs to be maintained.
Yes.
And it is also, it is in the nature of the Circle of Ash. Our belief is that from destruction, new life can grow. It may be that we choose, it may be that we decide that the Fey Court are in the right. It may be that we feel that Cormyr has the right of defense here. It is difficult to say. But yes, I believe that we can at least assist you in some sort of arrangement, a meeting of sorts. Minister Marcel, was it? Do you have troops stationed here that can defend Eveningstar if it comes to it?
That we do.
Do they have experience fighting against beings from other realms?
They have experience in combat. Beings from other realms, beings from this realm. We found that most of them bleed.
Pragmatic man.
But what if they don't bleed? Do they bleed, Garland?
They will, whilst they are temporarily in the material plane, although it may be more like a sap than an actual blood. I guess the main thing to remember is that if you slay a planar creature here on the material plane, it is not permanently destroyed. It will return to the Feywild. This can make battles here on the material plane difficult on the morale of your troops, knowing that the enemies they slay will only return in a future battle, whereas their own losses, well, are perhaps more permanent. Something to perhaps keep in mind, Minister. Make sure your men are prepared for the morale effect of such a battle.
Do you have any other advice, techniques, things to keep in mind, Garland? Anything that you might teach us while we're here, or if they're coming in forms that are, well, she trails off.
Honestly, Agnis, I'm not even certain if they will attack Eveningstar. So far, the attacks have been sporadic, smaller settlements, villages, small villages, or perhaps traveling bands. It may also be that your own Cormyrians may try and recruit you into making attacks on the Feywild themselves. I guess that will depend on whether you and your brother wish to stay neutral in this matter or pick a side. I will leave that matter for your own counsel. You are a 5-flame now. That is for you to decide. But in terms of advice, I can give you some practical elements on some of their spells and abilities that they can use, but not much in the short time I have, I'm afraid.
Do you see no...
But you can always contact me if you have a way of reaching out to me, to send a word if you wish for me to return.
Do you see no chance for a diplomatic cessation of these hostilities?
It is difficult to say. It is difficult to say. As I mentioned, the summer court, perhaps it could be resolved. It depends entirely on Cormyr as well. These attacks have been happening from the bigger cities to the south, all the way up to here in Arabelle and Eveningstar, even out to the way to the mountains, all over the place. But I'm not saying it is impossible, just that the summer court, they respect strength. They enjoy the thrill of the hunt, of battle. Such things are not so easily tempered. Still, I do not wish to overly worry you. Like I said, this is a formal warning of sorts, to be cautious, to be on the lookout, but I do not think you are in any immediate harm.
You came to tell us simply to help us be on our guard, or do you wish us to step in and help in a certain way?
Well, that is for you to decide, young 5-flame. You are a member of the Circle of Ash. You know that from destruction, life can rebloom. This town, I've already seen some of its buildings were destroyed by the previous inhabitants, and yet you rebuild it, as is the teachings to you. This is a path of the Druid. I cannot give you the answers. It is one that you must decide upon yourself. The Circle has still undecided.
I turn to Azara and I say, then I think a diplomatic solution must be attempted first, and I like your idea of making a journey to speak to the court.
I agree, and as was so wisely stated, the summer court is very volatile and hostile. If it comes to a show of power, not in an act of war, but in an act of warning, it may come to it. But hopefully talks can play out. Everything will be fine. If you would like my frank opinion, neutrality is the best stance in this situation. Cormyr is a formidable foe, but so is the Feywild. Not allying with either side could be beneficial. For once, I agree with neutrality.
Can you make all the arrangements then for us to attempt peace talks?
It can be attempted. It will take some time, but yes. It will take weeks perhaps to arrange something, but it can be done.
We will stay in contact and make sure that everything can work out.
It's like he nods to Shala and says, like, make sure that we prepare some sending scrolls that we may contact the Magister here or Agnis if necessary. And she just nods, just like, yes, 5 flames, 6 flames, I will. He's like, well, that is my business here. A piece of good news, Agnis, on your advancement, and then perhaps a bit of a bleaker warning, but still. You have done impressive work. I'm not one for walls of stone and comfortable beds, but it is good to see that from destruction, new life is blooming. He just puts a big hand on your shoulder, Agnis.
You can tell that Agnis kind of views this person as like a father figure of sorts, at least a mentor. So you can tell she's kind of just like glowing with his praise and says thank you and gives him a big hug.
Yeah, just kind of returns it and then smiles and says, well, I believe that Shala has eaten her fill of your pantry, and with that, we shall make our way back. Come, apprentice. And she's just like, yes. Quickly, like, stuffs a few things in, like, pockets and then trails on after him. Yeah. And
Agnis turns around to Tarkhal as Garland's leaving. She goes, 5 flames.
And yeah, you guys are left with the evening. Do you guys want to have a chat? Or is there anything you guys want to do on your own?
Agnis will be like, this seems inopportune that there is conflict amongst the Cormyrian nobles and a desire to remove us from power on the Cormyrean side, and conflict between Cormyr and the Feywild. It seems to be happening all at once, as though it were not a coincidence.
In my experience, war is rarely only on one front. This is quite normal for a kingdom, for royals, for an army. Don't think too much on it, especially because we are not in immediate danger. We personally have not thrown a salvo towards the Feywild. We should be safe until we make contact.
But didn't we find texts about summoning from the Feywild? Couldn't this be connected? Someone trying to raise conflict as either a smokescreen or as a way to take us out without revealing that they were the ones who did it?
Oh, absolutely. And as I confided to you earlier, my previous employer was dabbling in attacking the Feywild as well. Why these Cormyrean nobles are feeling the need to interfere in business that is not their own, I am not quite aware, but believe you me that this is my job and I will find out why. I may not have known why such an attack was mounted while I was still under such a baron, but I will find out for you, my lady.
Marcel, as this conversation is happening, you do hear your brother's voice in your head. Do you think that the Scions might be involved in any of this? And it seems like a pretty nefarious plot, but I mean, they must be powerful in magic. They certainly would be strong enough to do things like go into the Feywild. Do you think maybe it might be connected?
I wouldn't put it past them, but I don't know if this is enough to assume on. We'll
maybe something for us to talk to Tarkhal about. Let him know that it could be something.
We'll keep eyes open.
Okay. Voice goes quiet.
Then we should take this information to someone who can be trusted at the Summer Court and tell them that we believe someone on the Cormyrean side is deliberately provoking the Feywild, and that it may have to do with frustration at our own rule. I hate to make it about us, but that's what it seems to be.
Agreed. But we must be careful not to let the Fae think that we are allying with them while we just come to make peace. But let's put all of that talk aside for now. I feel like a feast should be stricken in honor of your new title, Agnes.
It's not.
And Azara will kind of like wave to the.
It's only just under garlic. It is kind of it's not a big deal, but it's a pretty big deal. I mean, it's
5 whole flames, is it?
It is a 5. It's
that's a handful.
You would think coming from 3 that he might have brought news of me becoming 4 flames, but 5 didn't expect it. It's no big deal. Just
well, we should definitely feast, drink, and be merry. I'll go fetch Willow Song to join us for the feast, and Tarkhal will just like trail off.
She's like, yeah, 5, and he's like, I'll go fetch Willow Song, and she's like,
yep. Sure.
Azara will kind of pat her shoulder knowingly.
Agnes will just like, I assume there's probably a fireplace in this hall. She'll just kind of spit a bonfire at it, just like in annoyance.
Flame like roars to life. Yeah. You see Alyssa who's just been kind of stood at the back as like bodyguard, kind of jumps a little bit, like, and then she looks at Azara, like nods towards Agnes, like, is she okay?
Just just setting the fire. No one had done it yet, so I thought I would do it.
You see Marcel like start walking off.
He's just
like, well, I would hate to defy her lady's words, so if she insists it's not that big of a deal, I won't make one of it.
Well, we have to eat. I mean, we might as well eat. We can all, we might as well. I mean, why not feast for any reason,
Overindulging slows you down, makes you more dull in combat. Perhaps it would be better if we stayed vigilant.
Agnes just looks to Azara like...
Azara will just turn to the kitchens and say, continue with preparations. A feast is still happening, and just like ushers Agnes off. Like, don't pay any mind to this stick in the mud.
I think Alyssa might kind of like look after Marcel, maybe kind of move towards the door as if kind of like just kind of checking it or something like that, and just kind of leans in and says, if you do want to stay for the feast, Minister, I'm more than happy to keep an eye out on things tonight. But if you wish to go, understandable.
After thinking it over, I found I have no preference over either. And I'm not really sure what to do at this point.
May I make a suggestion, Marcel?
You technically may.
Good. Stay. You've been off on your own all the time. I think that the Baron and Baroness could use company of people that they trust, especially after everything in Arabelle.
I want to telepathically ask my sword a question.
Sure, yeah, you can speak to it telepathically, so yeah, nobody will hear.
And just ask, what about you? Are you hungry?
Oh, famished. Perhaps a skewer of something, or perhaps some blade oil. That would be delicious. You should eat, brother. I don't need hunger. It would be nice to enjoy some good company for a bit. Not that you're not good company, but you are a little dour sometimes.
No one likes being called dour, man.
I say back to the sword.
Dour's a bad thing to be.
Say back to the sword. I'm like, you've been a sword for years. Where did you find time to get educated?
It's funny. All I can do is read things around me and listen in on everyone else's conversations. It's not like I've got anything better to do.
Well, your next lesson is eavesdropping is quite rude. So if you hear anything interesting, let me know.
Yes, I will do, brother. I will.
I'll go sit back at, I'll sit with Agnis, just sit down. Like, my presence has been requested at this feast.
Azara will smile and put a glass of wine with a straw in it and just kind of pat him on the shoulder and continue about like helping in the kitchen.
That was like the most undour thing Marcel has done. Agnis takes note of how undour he's being by saying my presence was requested and acknowledging somebody wanted something.
Yeah. I think, and then Tarkhal, you briefly return. You find kind of Willow Song up in her room. What would Willow Song be doing? Probably just staring out the window, just like looking out in towards the forest. And then when you kind of come in, she's like, oh, yes. Hello, Tarkhal. Is something...
Yes, we're having a feast downstairs. My sister was promoted to a 5 flame of in her druidic ways. So we're celebrating.
Oh, well, I don't know what that is, but that sounds wonderful.
I don't really know either, but she seemed very happy. I don't know.
Yes, I imagine. Oh, I hope that you have a lovely evening. I'm sure I don't want to impose.
I mean, I'm inviting you as my guest.
Oh, you're very sweet. Yes, that sounds lovely. I'd be more than happy to come. And she kind of gets up, sort of like maybe like takes a moment to like check her appearance, and then we'll follow you down.
Sweet.
And so Tarkhal appears with Willow Song, and a impromptu feasting occurs. Is there anything that particularly goes down during this feasting? Are people getting crazy with
crazy?
Getting crazy.
Agnis makes a marked effort to like engage with Willow Song. She seems to not be going anywhere, so Agnis wants to get to know her. Find something in common.
No, I think that like Willow Song would be quite polite, like as you sit down, and like if Agnis makes like the opening small talk, Willow Song would be like, yes, Tarkhal mentioned that you've got some sort of promotion or something. I don't quite understand it, but tell me more about it. What is it all about? And it's kind of like offering like tell me about this cool thing that we're all celebrating that is obviously very important to you.
That's nice. That's very nice. Agnis would love to tell her about what 5 flames means and what you have to do, and the circle of wildfire. And she'll also weave in like talking about how even though fire is about destruction, it's about rebirth. And she'll kind of invite Willow Song to talk about the forest as well, and like what
what a wonderful ideology. I think that there's something quite beautiful about that. The destruction of the war and the things that have become, it's something similar to something that my mother sometimes says, is that when a garden becomes overgrown, you must sometimes pull out the weeds that inhabit it. And I think that there is truth to that. Perhaps there is some connection there between your druidic order and some of the things my mother believes.
I think the further into their cups that they get, Agnes will be like, just like, because it's about growth. Like life is growth, but then sometimes in order to grow, you have to destroy, like.
Yes.
You get
yes.
it.
Willow Song is stone sober and is doing that sort of like, yes, I think Azara, and she's like trying to get out the conversation, like as drunker Agnes is kind of like unleashing all of this at her.
Uncool.
She's desperately trying to get out of it.
She got a point and then she lost a point.
Oof, so close.
That's how it works. Look, she doesn't want to be dealing with drunk Agnes. I don't think.
Agnes is just trying to be real and connect, tear down some walls.
Tear down some walls, man. Tear down some walls.
Tarkhal's also been in his cup and he sees them talking, but doesn't can't infer whether things he can't infer that anything's going bad. But he only sees good. He's like, oh man, they're hitting it off. This is great. Oh man, I love my sister. I love how, and that's it. And then his thought
then he almost it kind of gets away from him and stuff.
Well, and then if Willow Song passes Agnes to Azara and then retreats, Agnes will go to Azara and be like, she doesn't get it. She doesn't get it. And if she doesn't get it, Tarkhal gets it. So
Agnes is
how long
white-waisted girl?
can Tarkhal
oh my God.
with someone who doesn't get it? She's gonna have to get it, or he's not. She's not gonna get it.
I was like, absolutely, Agnes. She just doesn't get it. She just trying to placate him.
So I think while Agnes is doing that, what's Marcel as this is kind of going on around Marcel? I want to almost the cinematic shot of Marcel just sat there and everything going on around him. What's going on? I think Nate's doing it.
He unmuted for that.
He unmuted just to be quiet.
The occasional.
I think that if Agnes is distracted, Azara would try and make an effort not to have a conversation with Marcel, because this is already too much for him, but just kind of sit across from him and just in a way of this is appreciated that you're here. I'm not going to push you, but we're colleagues and I appreciate you making the effort. And continue to refill his wine glass when it empties.
Okay.
He gives his arms are crossed, his feet are up, and just kind of a
amazing.
I think later on towards the night, she would I think the only thing she would say to him is, I know that this is your business. I'm not trying to pry, but I wanted to once again offer any magical services you might need, any translation that Sarah Lee and I could provide for you, anything. I hope that our little unit of 4 here can grow closer, and I just wanted to offer any help I could ever. And she just kind of awkwardly, because he doesn't say anything back, so she just kind of keeps tripping over her words.
He just lets the sentence stumble and fizzle out, and then after a few seconds of silence, just
I'm going to go find Alyssa. And she just takes her cup of wine and leaves.
Agnes at this point is conjuring and unconjuring a bonfire 5 times on the ground, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You see panicked old Nigel and Audrey, the little gnome lady, just nervously behind Agnes. One's got a soaked blanket, and the other one is just unsure what to do with a bucket of water. And Agnes hasn't spotted them; she's completely oblivious to everything that's going on around them. But you do see that Alyssa is desperately kind of organizing a couple of guards to just watch over Agnes. Is please just watch the Baroness. If she tries to set anything on fire, just come and get me or get Azara or somebody, please. I don't think the Baron's going to be much help. As she gestures over to Tarkhal.
I'm literally, I think I would literally be clapping like, yes, my
Like-
plays, yeah.
This
I
is
really like
very
the imagery
exciting
of
for
the
Agnis.
Crownsilver siblings like being completely plastered. It's amazing.
Agnis feels super dope about this because she's been feeling like, you know, they haven't had good sibling quality time. So
Yeah.
then she's also probably like, maybe they know an old family like Crownsilver song or like a drinking song or like, oh,
I think it's probably like Agnis knows it.
Yeah.
But Tarkhal doesn't. But like Tarkhal's like, oh, but he's like doing the thing where you're singing
Yeah.
along to somebody, but you don't know it. But Agnis doesn't notice. So, and yeah, while this is all kind of going on, like Alyssa is just desperately trying to sort out guards and things like that, and then looks over to you exhausted, and it's just like, it would be really wonderful if the Baron and Baroness would go to bed soon.
I have a feeling that soon will be another 4 hours, so we may be here for a while, but I have plenty of ice stored in me to and she just kind of like looks around like, oh no, there's drapery, there's wooden benches, like this could be a disaster, and just kind of like sighs and stands next to Alyssa, kind of like leans back on the wall, definitely a little bit drunk.
Okay. I think, yeah, Alyssa would do the classic thing of like leaning up next to you, kind of pushing against the wall, standing close enough that if you wanted to lean on her, you could, but isn't like making the first move. Like he's kind of like keeping to not soldiers' attention, but like parade attention, where it's kind of, but she's kind of like stood there as like a stalwart thing, and just kind of is just like, I think that you're quite right. But I think that I don't think Eveningstar will burn down for a second time tonight. I think that we have this under control.
Can Agnis? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go.
Oh no, Azara would just like look up at Alyssa and say, 20 silver. At least this room burns down.
I will take that bet, Magister. And she kind of just smiles, her little tusks kind of poking out from under her teeth and stuff. And she just kind of smiles as this is going on in the background. Go on, Tarkhal.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, can Agnis make like rings of fire?
Oh no.
Like in places?
I think so. Like you could like control flames, right? Like you could kind of like shape them and stuff.
I thought so, but as I'm looking at least at the character sheet that I have, like my only cantrip is create bonfire. Like, and that fills a 5-foot cube, and I can't even make that float. It's from the ground. So it's a 5-foot cube of fire from the ground. So if Tarkhal's like, can you make like a ring? Agnis is like, and she tries to make a bonfire like in the shape of a ring on the ground. So maybe it like starts as a ring, like on the ground, it kind of glows a little bit, like hot from the ground, and then glows into a big fire.
We haven't had many dice rolls. I would like. Can you roll a D100 for me, please, Anna? I just want to see.
Oh, that's fun.
I just want to see.
Oh no.
And I'll tell you now: low, good; high, bad.
9.
Okay, 9 is good. So it's actually like you try and summon it, and it's this most pathetic little fire, like just kind of coughs up as she tries to do it.
No, I mean like a target, and then I get my dagger. I'm like, cause watch, and I throw my dagger up into the air like to hit the ceiling, and then I like show my sheath on the side, and then it appears back afterwards. I was like, I think we could 5 rings, and I could throw it, and I throw it again accidentally, and it goes across the table.
It probably thuds like next to Marcel, like he's just sat in the chair, and it's just like.
And I'm like, ah.
Oh, dude, high fives him.
Yeah. Well, I guess there's no rings, but I guess that was okay.
She'll make 5 fires like in a row across from them on the stone floor and be like, there.
Oh, just throws the dagger through.
I think they come up with a game where now it's like a whack-a-mole of fire. Like she'll make a bonfire and then he'll try to throw the dagger and hit the fire before she turns it out and puts it somewhere else.
Okay. I like that.
To move things on from this evening, this continues late into the evening. Azara, when you do eventually manage to get to sleep, as the rest of the castle slumbers, and we'll roll some saving throws in the morning to see how bad Agnis is suffering. But as Azara is, you feel yourself drift off into sleep. And for maybe the third or fourth night since returning from Arabelle, you dream of open blue skies. Long, wispy clouds snake through the tips, the peaks of snow-capped mountains, and you just feel the freedom and the lightness of air around you as you begin to drift and soar. And you can feel like somebody is holding you up, like something is kind of lifting you off the ground, but it's faint, distant. But unlike the other dreams, tonight you hear a voice, a gentle voice, barely louder than the coiling wind around your hair. Find me.
Am I still in this dream?
The rest of the dream becomes blurry, like something you can't quite fully remember. But when you wake, you remember that sensation of the air and the blue sky and those words. As the rest of the castle either goes about their business or suffers greatly in their bedchambers, your quarry mistress, Dagmar, arrives seeking either an advisor. You kind of hear like I need to speak to Magister Azara as quickly as possible. Do you know where she is? Kind of asking one of the guards outside. And you overhear her. You kind of poke. You can see her from your tower.
Then I would like grab a dressing gown and quickly throw it on and run out to meet her and say, yes, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry to bother you so early in the morning, Magister, especially as I heard there was quite a party here last night, actually. Me and some of the miners, we found something, not in the quarry, just in the where we've been fixing the keep and mining some of the stones for the wall. I think there's some magic about it. I wanted to come and find you for you to make sure it's all safe before we continuing. I think it may be some sort of partially like a really old shrine or a temple or something like that. It's not too far from here. It's just north of the city as we north of the keep as we head into the mountains.
Yes, please lead the way.
Would you like a moment to get fully dressed?
No. I feel like Azara would feel like this is
imagine. She's like, oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, very, very well. Follow me, and she kind of leads you out. And it doesn't take long. It's maybe sort of like 15 minutes away from the keep, but she leads you into where the miners have been kind of taking down some of the old mountains. The Stormhorn Mountains is just the keep begins to drift into them, and she leads you to a section of the quarry. And gestures to a section. It almost at a glance, if you'd walked past here, it would just look like another bunch of broken stones, but you could begin to see the outline of like actual carved flagstones with murals. You begin to see like very faint images of mountain peaks etched into the stonework on the floors, and you glance over and it looks like it was maybe only a small chamber, maybe a shrine that was here, and it's collapsed or broken down. But there is at least what resembles a vague feminine elven form, like a statue that's broken. And it seems to have collapsed in the middle. And you do immediately kind of get a sense that there is magic here. Not enough, this isn't detect magic, but you can tell that there is magic here. And Dagmar is like, I'm no wizard or sorcerer, but I know the tingle of magic when I've been around it. I've been around enough runesmiths in my time to understand when something magical is nearby. And I didn't want to disturb this place any further without consulting you first, Magister.
Thank you, first of all, for consulting me with this. This is a magical place, possibly a place of worship. It doesn't feel malicious. It just feels powerful. I don't think there's any harm in further excavating, if you wouldn't mind, possibly seeing how deep this temple goes, or just if it's just a shrine, or if it goes any further. But I would be greatly indebted to you if you wouldn't mind continuing exploration.
Of course, it shouldn't. We need the stone anyway, so we'll just try and mine around it and excavate it, like you said. I'll need to go and fetch the others. Will you be all right here on your own for a moment?
Yes, absolutely. I'd
right.
like to get to know this place a bit better. Thank you.
Of course, of course. And she kind of like gestures and yeah, she begins making her way off. And yeah, as you stand for a moment, it's kind of sad. It's almost tragic. It's like seeing a place, you can tell it's ancient, and just like looking on somewhere that's just kind of fallen into disrepair and ruin, as it's just kind of crumbled to time, really. There's a moment of peace as you stand there, and you can feel almost like like the effect of standing in a grand temple in a big city, like the big temples in Suzail. There's a similar presence here, but weaker and more diminished. And it kind of shocks you when you hear a kind of faint voice speaking to you, almost like just behind your ear. You hear, "I know who you are."
Does this voice sound threatening? Does it feel like a threatening presence?
It's like the comfort of somebody, like an old friend almost, reaching out.
Then Azara wouldn't turn around. She would just close her eyes and say, "If you know who I am, who are you?"
I have had many names over many years, but I am fading from this world. But you carry my beliefs. You're searching for something. I'm searching for something. You carry the blood of Typhandrius. You have seen and felt the air and the storm as I have felt and seen these things. I need your help. And I believe that you need mine.
I feel Azara would probably start to get a little choked up, and she'll say, Are you the strength I've been praying for?"
As you are mine, yes. My name, she takes a moment. I was once called Erdri Feindria by the elves. We once lived in these mountains. They worshipped me as I protected them. And then the dragons came. There are so few of Ariel left. And now I find my powers diminished. Beauty has been seeped from this land, from these stones. I need someone with her own strength to help reclaim it. And in turn, I offer you mine, child of Typhandrius.
If I doubt my own power, how can I be of service to you?
Because faith is not always built upon doubt or conviction. It is earned through trust and belief and time. Seek out my words, learn my name, my history, and you will know my strength is now yours. It's almost like a breeze kind of brushes up along your back as your hair kind of ripples, as you feel this presence that lingered in this place specifically kind of fades away.
I think before returning to her room, Azara will kind of place a hand on the statue and make a note that the first thing she wants to do is come back and repair the statue. But she just kind of spends a little bit of time. A few tears fall before she collects herself and heads back.
Yeah, and this will reflect your beginning journey into cleric, Azara, as you have been reached out to by the spirit of, and I'm going to get this wrong every time I say it.
Oh, I am too.
Peña,
Yes,
as
that's
this
what I have
goddess reaches out to you.
Erdri Peña.
So we're not gonna end the episode per se, but I'm gonna kind of end the role playing a little bit here, because what I'd like to do now is kind of maybe discuss with you guys what you guys want to do next. Because we're kind of at this crossroads now with Eveningstar, where there is lots of things going on. There's lots of personal plots. You know, Marcel has the Scions. Tarkhal now has this burgeoning pact with Willowsong to explore. We have this new clerical, endeavor, and now with the news of this conflict between the Fae and the Cormyrean realm, there's a lot of different things going on. But you also have improvements you want to make to Eveningstar. There's personal stuff that you guys want to do. There's still the unresolved matters of like Davian Cormoril and stuff like that. What are you guys feeling like? Like, do you guys feel like you want to kind of focus on just making some money and improving Eveningstar for a bit? Do you want to explore one of these hooks or one of these adventure points a little bit closely? What are you guys feeling?
Agnis, at least, is feeling like they've been away a really long time, and the whole point of being the ruler is to like watch over the people. So she feels like she's kind of been neglecting the people. So she would want to check in on the town improvement projects and focus on that. But she thinks that she feels a sense of like, if this whole Feywild conflict thing is because she and Tarkhal are now the rulers of Eveningstar, then that's their responsibility to figure that out, and that probably will protect the people as well. So she would want to pay attention to that, but in the nearest short term, she would want to check in and build the town.
Yeah. So so just as a quick thing for me, basically what I would like to do is I'd like to start next episode like 2 months. Like I kind of want to have like a time skip of like months to kind of bed in the warlock powers and the cleric multiclass, but also that will finish the keep. The keep will be completely repaired. Your blacksmith, the herbalist shop, the inn, and I'm trying to remember the other thing you guys ordered to be built will all be finished. So you'll have all of those construction projects finished. Your coffers are basically dry, so you have almost
so
no
make
money.
Some money.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's this is kind of why I wanted to kind of get this figured out in the last 10 minutes, because I want to prep whatever you guys want to do. And it might be that, like, if Marcel's like, you know what, I want to take a back seat on the Scion stuff, or I want to kind of like start pursuing that, and everybody else is like, yeah, that sounds cool, we could do that. Like, I kind of want to figure out the kind of path forward here, really.
I think I kind of agree with Agnis and Anna, specifically with the coffer dry being thing. I think a small mini dungeon dive or
that's totally
answering a
cool
bounty
too.
or something, just so we can
absolutely
attend to.
I can hook that into some stuff.
The people, and possibly also do figuring out the taxes. And since we have now an armory, figuring out income, just stuff like that.
Sure.
And yeah, like another bounty dungeon,
a little mini jaunt.
A little mini jaunt would be dope. Sure. I'm also like super excited to go down any of these pathways.
Cool.
And
sure.
Yeah.
We just need a little gig work.
A little gig.
That is a legit an option as well. Like, if you guys are just like, you know what, let's just do like a little dungeon and make some money, that's totally fine too. And Nate, Shady, what are you guys' thoughts?
I was gonna say that I think Tarkhal is actually probably most invested in Marcel's story, as is Jonathan, which is convenient. Just because he wants to, like, I don't know, he wants to see after Marcel opening up, I want to see something good happen. I think that as a player, I'm wondering if there's a 2-month, like, say there's a couple months that pass, I wonder if there's a way you could just implement, oh yeah, we did a raid once a week to go get gold. Like, originally I was thinking like, oh, I'd love to just do like, typical dungeon raid for a week, an episode. But I'm also super invested in all 4 of these potential branches that I wouldn't mind if we just rolled for raids. Like, how did the raids go over the 2 months?
Sure, yeah, we can definitely do some stuff like that. I can come up with some mechanics for that. I think as well I can combine a little bit of both, where we can do that stuff where you're like, okay, we're going to send our troops off to do little jobs and we're going to raise some money and do some taxes. That'll be like minor income. But I could also probably be like, oh, there's been a lead on the Scion stuff, and it just so happens to be like a little mini dungeon, and then we can make the two kind of work together. If that's something Nate wants to do as well, because it is Nate's story, and I want him to feel like he has the agency over it as well.
Yeah, I think
something like that would be cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be dope.
Because I think Hadley could be like, in that 2 months, Hadley could come back and say, hey, Marcel or Oliver, I think I found something and I think we should go and investigate it. Like it's like an old, laboratory or something like that. And then that will become like the next thing that we look into. And again, like I'll make some stuff up so we don't feel like I'm giving too much away. I still want you guys to have a surprise, but I want to check in. I want to just make sure like, okay, yeah, we're feeling like this is going to kind of match everybody's desires. And I think I can work with this now and come up with something. So cool stuff.
Do we also have like some small, like good, happy, pure stuff in between all of the story and the plot?
I think you've had enough of that today, Mica. No, we had a silly drunk party.
But it was so short. Like in Persona 5. Like in Persona 5, like in between all of the palaces, you have like those few days where you just do some shit. Like a little. You can go into the mementos. I've been playing a lot of Persona 5 lately, you guys. I'm sorry.
We will absolutely have those things.
Okay.
And we might have some next week.
I just want to go into mementos. All right.
The chat has a valid question, which is how hungover was Agnes? If we're going to fast forward 2 months.
That's a very good point, and I hadn't considered it. Make a Constitution saving throw for me, Agnis Crownsilver.
Oh no. I got 11.
11? Yeah. It's not the worst that Agnes has probably ever had, but it's not great. It's like she wakes up at like 10, 11. Yeah.
Spend the morning staring at the table, drinking green tea for like 2 hours.
Yeah. Probably doesn't get out of bed till really late.
Yeah.
Even then doesn't get much done kind of thing. Yeah.
Sunday morning of a convention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly that. Didn't make it to the hotel restaurant. We said we'd be there at 10. It's more like noon.
We all sent mini group texts that said, yes. I'm going to be late. Guys, actually just go on without me. And everyone goes, oh, thank God, I'm still in bed.
Yeah.
And I think Tarkhal with his tough feet probably weathered the alcohol a little bit better. But if you want to roll, you can, Shady.
I'll roll, but only because
one.
If I get a 1, I want it to be canon that Tarkhal slept in Willowsong's room.
Ooh. Oh,
only if I get a 1.
Get a 1.
Nope, that's a 9. So
9.
He had his
so I think it's probably
him.
Like. So would we have seen like drunk Tarkhal maybe kind of being a bit more forward than he has been, like a bit more sort of like trying to like kind of keep a bit of PD, like, kind of keep contact or something like that?
I think so. I think he would have been like between dagger throw. I don't, maybe not physical, but just very
more
like
kind of doe-eyed and sort of like.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty.
Every time you made a dagger throw, he'd look and be like, did you see?
Look at me, it's cool. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Nice. Well, let's do some shout outs and then we will wrap up today's episode of Knights of Eveningstar. Let us begin with Pokemon Master ShadyPenguinn.
Hi guys, I'm Pokemon Master ShadyPenguinn TM. I don't know what's going on anymore really. Today was a pudding brain day. So what do I have going on? I have my new card channel, ShadyPenguinn Collects, where I open up cards and do funny edits and talk to you about prices and going neg and going plus. You can check that out. Also, stonks have been so freaking good this week. My goodness. I tag Mica.
Hi, I'm Mica Burton. I'm at Mica Burton. I'm not doing much right now, but you can go watch past episodes of Critter Hug on the Critical Role channel. Also keep your eye there for some silly stuff happening soon. I have a dog. Her name is Reenie, and she's cute. There's my plug. I tag Anna.
I am desperately looking for the date of the thing that I'm trying to talk about, but I'm sure someone in chat will tell you. I have a D&D fun thing coming up. If you know Evelyn Marthane from Dice Camera Action, she's also in Acquisitions Incorporated, and Acquisitions Incorporated is doing a holiday special that Evelyn will be in. Those always end up being really fun and really silly, so I hope you'll check that out and enjoy. I always love stepping back into that role. Also, this week on Friday, we have our 4th episode of Extra Brains, which is a brainstorming show that I do with DJ Wheat, where we take your topics and questions and try to add our brain power to yours in an effort to help. And last week, we did a special episode that I would really recommend you go back and watch the VODs, either on my channel or on DJ Wheat's. We did a special episode for National Native American Heritage Day with Cody Connors, who came and talked to us about land back and modern indigeneity, and it was really awesome and educational, so I would recommend going back to look at that. And I tag Mark.
Oh, well, thank you very much. You can check me out. I do my D&D show, like on High Rollers D&D, which is nearly 5 years. It will be 5 years in January. We've been doing that show. That is on High Rollers D&D. That's on Twitch and Twitter and YouTube. You can find us everywhere. That's on Sundays, which we're continuing through December. The other thing I was going to mention is I do have a new YouTube channel as well, but the big thing I want to push is right now a bunch of my friends over in the Yogscast are doing their Jingle Jam charity live event that goes on all throughout December. If you go there, you can get an awesome bundle of amazing games and donate to a bunch of really amazing charities, and that's going on for 14 weeks. And the bundle's really good. You get a really cool bundle of games, and it all goes to charity. So big shout out to the Jingle Jam. And you should go and check that out as well. But also come and watch me play more D&D. And also I've been streaming a little bit more on my own channel, which is Sherlock_Hulmes as well. So I've been doing some Among Us and playing some other stuff and doing like all sorts of weird stuff. So come and check that out. And then I guess we have last, but certainly by no means least, Mr. Nate Sharp.
I don't know, man. I'm playing D&D this Friday in Brett Ultimus's game, twitch.tv/Brett Ultimus. We're on our, I think, 3rd session or something like that. I am playing Mason Marthane, who is Evelyn's uncle, who Mark has actually DM'd before. Character.
Yeah.
It's interesting because this is one of the only games I've ever played where I'm the nonstop talkative, won't shut up character. So if you want to tune in to see that, that's fun.
I just want to see that
fun.
Personally.
It's a good old time.
Nate, in your shout outs, I was wondering, because I want to buy fantasy themed streetwear for my friends and family for Christmas, and I don't know where I could buy it. Where do you think I should go?
Well, if you like this specific dad hat that I'm wearing, you can.
Is that a bouquet of D20s embroidered on your hat?
A bouquet of D20s. Those are 20-sided dice, and you can. Oh, that's a thing.
What a nice dice vault with a polyhedral spell circle.
Wow, this is so crazy. It's almost as if this amazing brand designed this polyhedral spell circle. I think it's called Cantrip Brand. Is that right?
It's called Cantrip Brand at cantripbrand.com. Link
Crazy.
is on the internet.
Wow. Who?
Shady. It's just like
we had a Black Friday sale.
Yeah.
And you missed it, chat. So go buy stuff anyway.
Yeah, find it full price for your hubris.
Support small businesses.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you very much, everybody. We're going to wrap up there. Big thank you to Dave, White Text Friend, as well.
We love you, Dave.
For fun commentary. Killed it. Thank you very much, guys. We will see you next week for more Nights of Eveningstar. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.